looks like we've definitely picked up 3 and a very good chance, likely to pick up 3 more and a couple more. So we're looking at probably at least 6 extra seats, doubling our representation, and that's a real credit to the existing Queensland caucus who've worked hard and all of those candidates and their supporters and our Queensland branch through this campaign.
Joel Fitzgibbon, final thoughts.
Kieran, I started the night by saying Peters was the worst campaign since 1993, John Hewson. Interestingly, at Hewson's election in 93, Keating picked up 80 seats. Albanese will almost certainly pick up 85 plus tonight. Very significant outcome. And he'll surpass Kevin Rudd, who in 2007 picked up, took home 83 seats. Not picked up, took home 83 seats. So he's surpassed his friend Kevin. Look, it's a very significant win, obviously, and none of us expected it. I spoke to Albo on a number of occasions throughout the campaign, and he always told me he'd get a majority, and I was sceptical, but he was absolutely right, and I think it's pretty obvious to me tonight that he absolutely believed it. You know, I thought, well, sports people, for example, have to believe they're going to win, and I thought there was a bit of that in it, but I think he obviously believed it, and he obviously had some information we didn't necessarily have as well. Now, I don't want to be dancing on the grave of the Liberal Party, but maybe you take it as a light-hearted point. We're talking about structural issues for the Liberal Party. What do all these people have in common other than the fact that they led the Liberal Party at some point? Menzies, Holt, Gordon, McMahon, Snedden, Peacock, Howard, Hewson, Downer, Nelson, Turnbull, Abbott and Dutton. They all represented seats the Liberal Party no longer represents. Thank God they've hung on to Wannon and Cook.
Yeah, well, that's quite a way to finish.
I think, in the words of someone, I think they need to come out and have one long last look for Harold Holt.
Thank you all. Thank you for being here on your company on an historic election night. Don't go anywhere. We've got more results and reaction with Kenny Heatley after the break. And then join us. We're back at this desk 7 a.m. tomorrow for a special Fallout edition of Sunday Agenda. For now, though, good night from us all here at the Sky Election HQ.
At this stage, we're not sure what flavour it might be. There's positivity within Labor, it could be a majority, but Anthony Albanese will again be Prime Minister of Australia.
Labor retains majority government as Australian voters deliver Anthony Albanese an emphatic win.
Now, we didn't do well enough during this campaign. That much is obvious tonight, and I accept full responsibility for that. Earlier on, I called the Prime Minister to congratulate him on his success tonight.
The opposition leader concedes defeat, apologising to his Liberal colleagues in his speech. And Peter Dutton also losing his seat in Queensland. He'll exit Parliament after 24 years. Welcome to this special election edition of Newsnight. I'm Kenny Heatley.
And in weather, more showers coming for the East Coast. Very warm in the south. Full details coming up.
Live on Sky News Australia, this is Newsnight.
It certainly has been a captivating night. The polls were consistently pointing to a Labor minority government, but the Australian people have delivered Labor a larger majority, picking up more than 80 seats with the count still in progress. Anthony Albanese has become the first Prime Minister to win consecutive victories since 2004. Peter Dutton and the Coalition, on the other hand, have suffered a crushing defeat. Mr Dutton becoming the first opposition leader to not just lose an election, but his own seat, ending his 24-year parliamentary career. The Liberal Party are now in search of a new leader. This hour, and it's great to have you with us, we will bring you the key moments from the night as it happened. We will also be live to our reporters in key locations around the country and show you the latest vote count as well. But first, Anthony Albanese will be Australia's 32nd Prime Minister. A short time ago, the Labor leader delivered an emotional victory speech surrounded by the party faithful.
my fellow Australians, serving as your Prime Minister is the greatest honour of my life. And it is with a deep sense of humility and a profound sense of responsibility that the first thing that I do tonight is to say thank you to the people of Australia for the chance to continue to serve the best nation on earth. And I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. And I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging today and every day. Today, the Australian people have voted for Australian values. For fairness, aspiration and opportunity for all. For the strength to show courage in adversity and kindness to those in need. And Australians have voted for a future that holds true to these values, a future built on everything that brings us together as Australians and everything that sets our nation apart from the world. In this time of global uncertainty, Australians have chosen optimism and determination. Australians have chosen to face global challenges the Australian way, looking after each other while building for the future. And to serve these values, meet these challenges, seize these opportunities and build that better and stronger future, Australians have chosen a majority Labor government. I think the Australian people have got the name. A majority Labor government promised and delivered. A short time ago, I spoke with Peter Dutton, who has, of course, conceded defeat. And I thanked him. No. What we do in Australia is we treat people with respect. I thanked Peter for his generous words at the end of what has been a very hard-fought campaign. And I want to take this opportunity to wish Peter and Kiralee and their family all the very best for their future. Now, at election time, parties and candidates ask people to make a choice. And inevitably, the campaign and the coverage is about our differences and our disagreements. That is the nature of our democracy, and it is the role of the media who serve it. But now that the Australian people have made their clear choice, let us all reflect on what we have in common. Because no matter who you voted for, no matter where you live, no matter how you worship or who you love, whether you belong to a culture that has known and cared for this great continent for 65,000 years, or you have chosen our nation as your home and enriched our society with your contribution, we are all So let all of us work together to build our national unity on the enduring foundations of fairness, equality and respect for one another. My fellow Australians, I know the world has thrown a lot at our country over the past 3 years. I know so many of you have worked hard in the face of significant challenges, and I know there's still much more to do to help people under pressure. That is why it means so much that in these uncertain times, the people of Australia have placed their trust in Labor once again, including so many Australians who have voted Labor for the first time. I make this solemn pledge. We will not forget that. We will never take it for granted. Repaying your trust will drive our government each and every day of the next 3 years. The positive program we took to this election was shaped by the Australian people's priorities, and our government will dedicate the next 3 years to making a positive difference to your lives and to your future, bringing the rewards for your hard work within reach, investing in our youngest Australians, looking after older Australians, and building an economy and a society that is every bit as strong and fair, as resilient and generous as Australians are themselves. From tomorrow, back at work. Maybe not everyone here. And that's probably for the best. We take up this task with new hope, new confidence and new determination. Because together we are turning the corner, and together we will make our way forward with no one held back and no one left behind. Friends, I was raised to be an optimist. My mum had a hard life and we struggled financially. But she taught me to always be positive and see the best in people. When it comes to Australia's future, all of us have so much reason to be optimistic. Because when we look at everything going on around the world today, when we consider the changes that will shape the future of the global economy, when we think about our people and their smarts and skills, truly there's nowhere else you'd rather be than right here in Australia. This is a time of profound opportunity for our nation. We have everything we need to seize this moment and make it our own. And we must do it together, all of us, because for Australia to realise our full potential, for our nation to be its very best, every Australian must have the opportunity to be their best. To serve our Australian values, we must value every Australian, and Labor will govern for every Australian. Every Australian who wants a fair go at work, fair wages for their work, and the right to disconnect when they're done with work. Every Australian who deserves the security of a roof over their head or dreams of owning their own home. Every woman who wants her contribution to our economy and society to be valued equally. every parent who wants their child to get the best start in life with cheaper childcare and with fair funding for every student in every school. Everyone who counts on the National Disability Insurance Scheme. We will be a government for every Australian who wants to train or retrain for new skills and a good job at public TAFE. Every Australian who works hard for the life-changing opportunity of higher education and wants 20% cut from their student debt. Every Australian who knows that climate change is a challenge we must act together to meet for the future of our environment. And knows the fact that renewable energy is an opportunity we must work together to seize for the future of our economy. We will be a government that supports reconciliation with First Nations people because we will be a stronger nation when we close the gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. And friends, we will be a government that relies and helps every Australian who relies on Medicare. Because this card is not Labor red or Liberal blue, it is green and gold. It is a declaration of our national values in our national colours. Medicare belongs to all Australians, and together we will make it stronger for all Australians. Friends, I stand here tonight as the proud leader of an extraordinary team. I stood on the hallowed turf of the G this morning, doing live crosses making that point. I want to thank all of my colleagues, beginning with my friend, our incredible Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles. No one could hope for a better deputy, and I thank him so much. My friend and our Senate leader, Penny Wong, and her deputy, Don Farrell. Our economic team led by Jim Chalmers and Katie Gallagher. Our campaign spokesperson, Jason Clare. And we've got a bit of a shared party tonight, and Berkey's here, the member for Watson. My amazing Labor caucus, which when you look at it across the benches, it's representative of the Australian people. I acknowledge all of our fantastic Labor candidates in every seat who put up their hand, gave up their time for our cause and their community. And if you excuse me for singling out one of them, who ran for a third time in Dixon, Ailey Frantz. So many of whom will be joining us as caucus members in Parliament. I want to thank the people of Grayndler, most of whom are here tonight. I've got to say something, it was very special on the way here. There was obviously, I don't know whether there was a drone above us or what have you. My security team said, you know, maybe they're just out on the street. People don't just hang out on New Canterbury Road. And from Lilyfield, Leichhardt, all the way here, I'm sorry, but I won't be moving back for a little while. The people of Grayndler did me an incredible honour in choosing me as their representatives 29 years and 10 elections ago. I've lived in this community in the inner west my whole life, and it's an incredible privilege to serve a community that you love, and I do love it. To the Labor Party's heart and soul, our rank and file members and the mighty trade union movement of Australia. The Labor Party will always stand up for jobs and people's wages and conditions. Everywhere I have been through this campaign, your energy, your enthusiasm, your dedication to the cause has lifted me up. You inspire all of us in your service of working people, and we thank you. To our magnificent campaign director, National Secretary Paul Erickson. Paul has run an outstanding campaign. Paul and I did tell people May was the right time. And he managed to become a dad during the campaign. He was supported by an absolutely brilliant team. And all of those dedicated people own a part of this victory. And I thank you. To my personal staff, led by Tim Gartrell. The loyalty, the passion, the commitment that you showed. You have a tough job that you perform with grace, with humour, with joy, and just a passion for changing the country for the better. Thank you for what you do. To my son Nathan. Who's grown into a fine young man who I am just so proud of. Thank you. And to my fiancée, Jodie Hayden. probably wasn't expecting for this to be in your life half a dozen years ago. I am so grateful for your support, your friendship and your love. You make me so happy. Which matters. You have my heart, I love you, and I look forward to living our lives together. My fellow Australians, Australians have chosen the Australian Labor Party as their government. And our government will choose the Australian way because we are proud of who we are and all that we have built together in this country. We do not need to beg or borrow or copy from anywhere else. We do not seek our inspiration overseas. We find it right here in our values and in our people. Tomorrow we dedicate ourselves to your service. We renew the great responsibility and the opportunity of government. And with pride and purpose, optimism and determination, with faith in the fair go and faith in each other, we return to the work of building Australia's future. Thank you all.
So there you go, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his victory speech at Labor HQ in Sydney's Inner West. No doubt that party is going to be going on into the night. Meanwhile, outgoing opposition leader Peter Dutton delivered his concession speech, congratulating Anthony Albanese for winning his second term as Prime Minister.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, tonight's not the night that we wanted for the Liberal Party or for our coalition or indeed for our country. But we've worked hard every day over the course of the last 3 years to do our best for our amazing country. One of the great honours of being the leader of this party is that we have met people from every side, every corner, the length and breadth of this country. And there are many amazing stories. People who have sacrificed, people who are doing it hard at the moment, and I've always wanted in public life for the best for our country and the best for every Australian. The highlight of my career has been as the Defence Minister, and over the course of this campaign, on Anzac Day, we caught up with young veterans in Townsville at the RSL, and it reminded me of how lucky we are as a country. And I want to acknowledge all of those men and women in uniform who keep us safe as a country. Now, we didn't do well enough during this campaign. That much is obvious tonight, and I accept full responsibility for that. Earlier on, I called the Prime Minister to congratulate him on his success tonight. It's an historic occasion for the Labor Party, and we recognise that. I congratulated the Prime Minister and wished he and Jodie and Nathan all the very best. And I said to the Prime Minister that his mum would be incredibly proud of his achievement tonight, and he should be very proud of what he's achieved. Thank you. I also had the pleasure of speaking with Ali France, and Ali and I have been combatants for a number of elections now, but she was successful in Dickson tonight, and she will do a good job as a local member. She lost her son Henry, which is a tragic circumstance that no parent should ever go through. And equally, I said to Ali that her son Henry would be incredibly proud of her tonight, and she'll do a good job as a local member for Dickson, and I wish her all the very best, please. Now, it's been a great honour to be leader of this amazing party for the last 3 years. And I want to firstly acknowledge David Littleproud, who has been a great partner in crime. He's led the National Party with great distinction. He's had the strength of character to stand up on issues which are important to us, and we've worked incredibly well together. He's done a great job, and he will do into the future. I want to say thank you very much to Susan Lee as my deputy, and also Angus Taylor as a shadow treasurer, and other senior members who have contributed to the success of the last couple of years. I also want to say a very, very big thank you tonight, most importantly, to the millions of Australians who have supported the Liberal Party, the Coalition. It's not our night, as I point out, and there are good members, good candidates who have lost their seats or their ambition, and I'm sorry for that. We have an amazing party and we'll rebuild. Can I say thank you very much to John Olsen as the president of the party. He's done a fantastic job. To Andrew Hurst and all of the secretariat for the work that they've done. I want to say thank you to my staff who are just amazing, led by Alex Dalgleish, Jody, Martine, Jackie, Selma, all of the EO staff, my advance team, the AFP, who have done an amazing job for our family. And I want to say thank you very much. I have the best media team in the country, led by Nicole Chant and Adrian Barrett and their team. They've done an amazing job, and I'm so grateful to them. And to all of our loyal staff, thank you very much. That leaves me, of course, with the hardest part, that is my amazing family. Australians have seen... Please, thank you. I'm blessed to have an amazing family in Kirralee, in Beck and Harry and Tom, and they... Please, thank you. They've stood by me through thick and thin, and I'm so grateful for their support and their love. Can I say thank you to the people of Dickson and to our amazing supporters in Dickson. Dickson had a one-term curse. It was only ever held for one term at a time, and we've held it for 24 years, which is an amazing achievement. 24 years is a long time to be in public life, and it has been an amazing honour. But I do want to say thank you to the people of Dickson who have placed faith in me over a long period of time. And we've had lots of battles and lots of campaigns. Ultimately, we've been able to deliver an amazing outcome for our local community. To residents and to people that we've been able to help, people who were with loved ones who were sick and stranded, infrastructure projects. There are many ways in which we've been able to provide amazing support, and I want to say thank you very much to them. Our Liberal family is hurting across the country tonight, but including in my electorate of Dickson, and I want to say thank you very much to all of them. They are amazing people dedicated to their country. Ultimately, we live in the best country in the world, and I've always believed that. I always will. I love this country and I've fought hard for it. We've been defined by our opponents in this election, which is not the true story of who we are. But we'll rebuild from here. We'll do that because we know our values, we know our beliefs, and we'll always stick to them. I want to say thank you to the Australian people for the faith they've placed in me, and thank them for the great honour of having been the member for Dickson and the leader of the opposition. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Peter Dutton's concession speech, and our election panel has reflected on Peter Dutton's time as the local member for Dickson, as well as his time as Liberal Party leader.
And, you know, he did exactly the right thing by acknowledging the victory, acknowledging Ailey's victory locally. I actually had one term in the state parliament in Queensland in Peter's area. He was always a very hard-working local member, and that is a seat, in my view, that on paper, should be a marginal Labor seat. If you look at the demographics of it, and he's held it for 20 odd years. You've got to respect that.
No, it's an incredible
And
achievement.
he wasn't blaming, bad workman blames his tools. It wasn't like 2016 where old mate blamed everybody. Wasn't like that. Wasn't like that. He took the loss. We need a strong Labor Party, and the Labor Party needs a strong Liberal Party.
Yeah.
I think everyone, and there'll be jubilation over with Labor rightly tonight with the result, but everyone should have a look at when you demonise the character of someone. The man we saw spoke then is a man that you know, and you will have had very difficult calls that he's made to you. We've all dealt with Peter Dutton. It is a shame that to beat a human being in the game in Australia, we've now got into this system where we tear them apart, their character apart. Because he is a fundamentally decent human being, and that he was demonised to the point that he was a caricature, I think says a lot about where politics is today compared to where it was 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. And I think that's a real shame.
Let's get the latest numbers now and head to our chief election analyst, Tom Connell. Tom, we know that there's been a massive swing to Labor. What's the latest count? How are we looking?
It's still trickling in some of these votes. WA and, of course, pre-poll and postal will continue over the next few days. Look, the picture has emerged as a pretty clear one, obviously, Kenny, and it emerged pretty early on in the night. So look at this. This is primary vote. Last time around, we saw the Coalition get a primary vote of, 35-36, and that wasn't really tenable for them. We saw the seats they've lost. They're losing more than that, 4.7%. I think we'll see this tick up a little bit, as in their vote up, and they won't be down as much with that pre-poll and postal. But so far, the pre-poll hasn't been as friendly as expected either. New South Wales, in terms of that, if that's working, no, it seems to have gone a little bit mysteriously on this. I'll move on to the State of the House instead. And this is where we were before the election, Kenny, 78 seats to Labor. The thought was always, especially with only a few weeks ago, them trailing in the polls or 50-50, can they hang on to their majority? Is there any way? Well, this is the live count right now. Labor up to 87 seats, the Coalition up to 36. So a few of them have shifted in the past 30 minutes or so as we're getting a little bit more of this vote. What you're also seeing here, look where the Greens are right now. 0. They started off at 4. Climate Independent started off, Climate 200, I should say, Independent started off at 6. So what's happening to those and Independent? This is the other story here. What has happened so far to the crossbench? So we might go up to Queensland first of all, in fact, and see what has happened to the Greens there. At the start of the night, they held Brisbane, Griffith and Ryan. Brisbane and Griffith are both gone to Labor. We've called them. They're not coming back. Ryan, I think they might end up holding on to it, Ryan. It looks like it's a clear contest there, but let's dig in to what this contest really has turned into, a three-way battle. If Labor can get ahead of the Greens and finish in the top 2, they will defeat the LNP with help from Greens preferences and they win the seat. So the question is, will this vote help Labor bridge that 2.2% primary gap? Right now, on the vote to come, People First, that's right-leaning, One Nation right-leaning as well. We come over here, we can see Trumpet of Patriot Family First. Right now, I think most of that's going to end up in the hands of the Liberal Party and not bridge that gap much. But it's only 50% counted. If that gap closes to 0.5% perhaps, we could see Labor get ahead of the Greens and finish second. I think the Greens, for right now, are favourites. That would mean they hold on to 1 seat. So where else are they holding seats? For now, they've got 1, of course, in Victoria, the seat of Melbourne. But even that is in some sort of doubt. So we go in here. Melbourne's 2% lead right now for Adam Bandt, and the Greens have fallen behind in the seat of Wills. This is one they were hoping to pick up, so right now Labor's ahead. So I think right now probably you're going to see the Greens go from 4 to 2 seats. There is a chance also they win Richmond. That's another complicated three-way battle. So they're going to go from 4 to maybe 2 or 3. So possibly shrinking a little bit. Some of those Climate 200 teals as well. So if we go here and we see what they hold, we've got the seat here of Goldstein. Look at this margin, 0.1%. And actually, perhaps Tim Wilson has just tipped into the lead for the first time. Let's go into here and have a look. You can see his primary is up. That's important for him to get into the 4s in terms of winning. Two-party preferred, how that's playing out right now. Look at that, 1.94, too close to call. But given he's shifted ahead, this means the pre-poll is shifting towards him. So I think right now you'd probably have him as favourite. I might go and study some of those numbers to make sure, but you'd have him as favourite. So there's some good news for the Liberal Party about winning one of those Climate 200 seats. The other one here was Kooyong. So this one, not looking so good. You can see here for the Liberal Party. It's looking good for Monique Ryan. 6.45% boost at the moment. Remember, her margin was 2.5%. She's getting a swing toward her. There's a little bit too much vote to go, but given some of this pre-poll is coming in, that's looking pretty solid for Monique Ryan. In other words, they'll probably get back Goldstein, but probably not a lot else, or certainly not that other one in Melbourne. The other fascinating part about this election has, in the end, been Perth. If we go to this area here, we can see more. Labor looks like it's a bit too early to call it, probably going to pick up more from the Liberal Party and then just extend the rest of its margins. Remember last time, WA was the state in which Labor finally got their majority. They already had it when they arrived this time. And those margins now, they're going to be very hard. Last time, Tangney was at 2%, now it's at 6%. So these seats are now no longer even marginal. Only 2 elections ago, they were clear seats for the coalition.
OK. Labor improving their position by at least 9 seats with the count still to go. Tom, thank you so much for that. Well, let's go to the Queensland seat of Dickson now, which we now know has flipped from Peter Dutton to Labor's candidate, Ailey France. First Edition host Peter Stefanovic is there. Pete, it is good to see you. Of course, this is one of the shock stories that we have from the night. Peter Dutton's seat has now flipped for the first time in 24 years, ending his parliamentary career. Can you describe what the mood is like there at the moment?
Oh, it's been celebratory for some time, you know. The crowds have been singing soccer chants, Ailey, 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 for the past couple of hours now. The party's still going. You might even be able to see Ailey France, the new MP for Dickson, behind me. And people are very proud here. Some have said to me tonight that they feel like they're being represented now for the first time ever. And I don't think this achievement can really be understated. You said some of it there during the introduction, Kenny. I mean, on a seat-by-seat race, this is one of the most extraordinary upsets that we've ever seen. Someone taking out a sitting opposition leader who has held this seat for 20-odd years, and someone who has had 2 cracks before. Ailey France was on First Edition just a couple of days ago, and even she, while was confident, was cautiously confident. I think behind the scenes, maybe they didn't even expect things to go so well this time. At least her team told me that tonight anyway. But she has had an extraordinary life. She's gone through so much grief. She lost her son to leukemia just last year. She lost her leg in a terrible car accident more than 10 years ago, and she of course has now become a huge advocate for the NDIS that she will play a huge role in at some point down the track. But it is a win here, and as I mentioned here, her friends, family and just her supporters who've come here are immensely proud of her and her achievement. And I caught up with her for a few minutes earlier in the evening after her acceptance speech, and she was grateful to have received a call from Peter Dutton, by the way. This was part of my conversation with her last hour. Ailey France, the new member for Dickson. You slayed a dragon tonight. How do you feel about that?
I feel incredibly grateful and proud of all of the people who have campaigned in this seat for such a long time. You know, it's been 7 years of really hard work. And yeah, it's such a privileged position to be in, and I thank the people of Dickson. Like, whether you voted for me or not, or whether you voted Labor for the first time, I'm actually so grateful. Yeah, it's emotional, I think. It's emotional for me.
Has it even sunk in? We were talking just a couple of days ago, and I said, you know, you're 0 for 2. If you lose this one, would you go again? Did you really think that you would knock out the opposition leader?
I expected it to be a lot closer than it was. But I was hopeful, obviously. I think after 7 years of a lot of hard work, a lot of grassroots campaigning, and just being in the community as much as I can, I'm happy that, you know, people have seen that I really care about Dickson, and I've put a lot of effort into this. So yeah, it feels good, but yeah, it was a bit unexpected, the result. Like I was hopeful, but yeah, it's lovely. It's really great. I'm so grateful.
And can I just ask, on a personal note, you've been through so much grief in your life. You lost your son last year. You lost your leg years ago after a terrible accident. How do you reconcile all of that with this victory this evening?
Well, life's bittersweet, isn't it? It is a series of highs and lows. I think my son, Henry, he wanted me to do this. He was convinced that I would win this. It's amazing, actually. We discussed it a lot, and I thought I wouldn't be running because I would be caring for him. And he would say to me, "No, Mum, you have to do this. I know you're going to win this time." And I feel he's been with me on this journey. And although it's been hard, I've just thought about his strength in his journey, and that's kept me going, really. Yeah, I think he's celebrating somewhere. I wish he was here, obviously. It's still hard. But I'm really grateful that all the volunteers here have had this opportunity. Some of them have been campaigning in Dixon for 20 years, and it's for them that this is really, it's their win as well. Like, it's not me, it's their win, so.
Well, we better let you get back to your party now. Congratulations again. We know that you'll also be a champion for the NDIS, no doubt, too. The member for Dixon, Ailey France, thank you very much and congratulations.
From Brisbane to Perth now, an afternoon agenda host, Ashley Gillen, is in the seat of Curtin. Ash, hello. What's happened in the seat there?
Well, Kenny, Tom White, the Liberal candidate here, hasn't conceded and won't be doing that tonight. The Liberals are waiting to see the pre-poll results here, but it certainly is pointing towards a Kate Chaney win, and I can tell you that the supporters here at Kate Chaney's event are certainly celebrating as if it is a win for Kate Chaney. She has recorded a swing towards her, which is quite a remarkable feat considering that this seat of Curtin is one that the Liberal Party really threw the kitchen sink at during this election. You've got to remember that this seat of Curtin is seen as the jewel in the crown. It used to be Julie Bishop's seat. It covers the leafy western suburbs. This is one of those seats that was such a solid blue ribbon seat for the Liberal Party until the last election, when the Teal independent Kate Chaney managed to pick it up from the Liberals. And there really was a sense within the Liberal Party leading up to today that Tom White would be able to win back this seat for the Liberal Party. I've spoken to several very glum Liberal insiders tonight who are very disappointed with the way things are looking like they're going here in Curtin. I did speak earlier with Kate Chaney, and we had a very buoyant crowd behind her as she talked about what it means to her to return to Canberra.
Well, I certainly would rather be in my position than my opponents at this stage. We're not calling it yet, but I'm so proud of the campaign that we've run and the incredible volunteer energy that has driven this community movement. And I'm just so happy.
Majority a good outcome for you and other independents, though, in the parliament when it comes to your importance in terms of passing key pieces of legislation? Would you prefer a minority result tonight?
Look, no matter what the government looks like, I will do what I've done for the last 3 years, and that is assess every piece of legislation on the merits and act in accordance with the values of Curtin. And I think if we have a parliament that does that, we will get better legislation no matter who's in government.
We heard a lot about the Teal experiment. Today we've seen a really good result for a lot of independents right around the country. Teal's the independents, you're here to stay?
I think that people all over Australia have seen what it looks like when they have a representative that answers to them, not a party, and they like it. And tonight we're seeing they like it.
Yeah, lots to celebrate at the Kate Chaney camp there. So what other results have we seen across the key seats in WA, Ashley?
Kenny, it's looking like a good night here in the West for Labor as well. Labor has picked up the seat of Moore. This is a seat that the Liberal Party hadn't thought they really needed to defend. It's one that they had put in their pile in terms of being able to hold on to. So picking up more for the Labor Party is a huge result for Labor. When we look around the grounds, the other seat that the Liberal Party really thought that they had a good chance in is Tangney. That was Labor's most marginal seat going into this election. But Labor's candidate, Sam one limb has well and truly romped home the result tonight. It's a very strong result for Labor in that seat. The new seat of Bullwinkle, that's a three-cornered race. That's, again, one too close to call tonight. We're going to have to see how the pre-poll works out the next few days. Sources in both of the major parties are telling me they're feeling really confident about that one. But the Nationals look like they won't do well there. The former Nationals leader and state opposition leader Mia Davies was running there, and it looks like the race will really be between the Liberal Party and the Labor Party in that seat. When we continue looking around the grounds, well, it's a lot of swings, basically, to Labor. Fremantle's looking quite tight for Josh Wilson. There was an independent Teal challenging him there, and she's done quite well. So we're going to have to, again, see how the pre-poll and the preferences work out there too. When it comes to who could be leader, West Australian Andrew Hastie keeps being a name that is thrown out here by his Liberal colleagues in Western Australia. They point out it would be a big ask for him. He's got a very young family. His seat is south of Perth, about an hour's drive out of Perth. Very tough to be opposition leader from that sort of seat with such a young family, but they also have pointed out that he's former SAS and used to doing hard things. So if it's not Angus Taylor, Andrew Hastie, another name I'm hearing in the mix to replace Peter Dutton.
Yeah, well, that's certainly the two names that have been thrown around so far. Ashley Gillen, appreciate it, thank you. Well, a part of Labor's sweep to victory this evening is the west of Sydney, a traditional ALP heartland. But amid the sea of red seats, Independent Di Lee hung on. Ross Greenwood was at her election party and spoke with her a short time ago.
Di, a couple of things. I just want to know, given the fact that Labor has had, such a strong sort of night of things, how are you going to negotiate with the Labor Party? What's your position of power? It was considered you might be one of the real power brokers in our parliament after this election. What sort of position will you have?
Oh, I'm sure they're going to, if I do get elected, they will look at me in that Parliament House. I can guarantee, despite the majority win, it's still a painful win because they have not won Fowler back. And for me, I'm there to negotiate for my community at the end of the day. And I've always said that no matter who's in power, I will work to ensure that my community is not forgotten and not left behind. So that's a priority.
Does your success in this seat really show that for independents who are very locally focused, which you have been, and you've been devoted to this community, is that actually a political tactic that more people should adopt?
I think there is a saying, all politics is local. So I think the more we focus on the local issues, the more we are connected to our community. So I think major parties put in a candidate at the last minute, the last 12 months, thinking that they're local. Well, no. Local means you've lived there, you've understood, you've grown up there, you've worked there, you understand the issues. You basically, they're in your blood. You live and breathe it daily. And that's when you are connected and you understand the community. So I think in order to succeed in any, areas where major parties are in power, that it has to come from the grassroots level up. It has to come from people who understand, who lives amongst us, to be able to advocate and campaign. And it's not an overnight success.
But for all of that, when you get to Canberra, you've still got to consider tax policy, you've got to consider defence policy, you've got to consider every type of policy that's there, and yet you've still got to be focused on this local community. That must be pretty difficult to balance that.
Politics is local, and so absolutely the national agenda is important as well, and I need to understand how is that national agenda impacting the livelihood, the daily living, the daily struggles of families in Western Sydney and in particular in Fowler, because we have to ensure that we're working to put food on the table, feed our family, drive our cars, go to work, pay our taxes. What is being done to help them? And that is local. Yes, it has taxes at national level, but tax also impacts our local businesses and our families.
So does this mean tonight the result of the Labor Party gives Anthony Albanese and his cabinet a clear mandate for the policies that they basically announced during the election campaign?
I don't know if they'll take it as a clear mandate, especially if they look at Fowler. I think if they take a look at Fowler, they think there's something there, which means they might have a number of seats, but that's a political campaigning. But I don't believe they can see that as a mandate.
Victorian Teal MPs Monique Ryan and Zoe Daniel retained their seats in Kooyong and Goldstein. Our reporter Georgie Dickerson has been speaking to a successful Zoe Daniel.
You know, it was a hard campaign. It was really hard. And, you know, we just tried to run our own race and run an honest, good faith campaign. And I'm really pleased that we were able to stick to that. And I just have so many amazing people around me. I'm so lucky. So, yeah, I really wanted to do it for them. Yeah.
And it looks like on a two-party preferred basis, you might almost win by 10%. It's a pretty huge win. Are you proud of that win today?
Of course. But, you know, we knocked 45,000 doors. You know, we have been everywhere all the time, just trying to spread the message and reach people and listen to people about their concerns. So the fact that landed, obviously that's fantastic. But, you know, I'm so grateful to anyone who voted for me. You know, it's a leap of faith to not vote for a major party, and I really appreciate it.
Was there any concern there when you did see Tim Wilson put his hat in the ring again to try and win this seat after you did beat him at the last election?
Oh, look, I think any competitor is, you know, someone I'm going to have to compete with. I guess, you know, the former member was a known quantity. Someone else would have been something different. And, you know, look, I acknowledge his effort in trying to win the seat back. You know, he fought really hard for it. And, you know, I respect that. I do.
We've got such a huge crowd around us today, so many hundreds of supporters. What do you have to say to them that have been out there on those polling booths every day and been out door knocking with you?
They have been out in the heat, the rain, they have door knocked, they have put up signs, cleaned, vandalised signs, organised events, everything. Like, they're just everywhere. Dropping off meals at my front door this week. One picked up my trousers from the tailor and dropped them at my house because I didn't have time. I mean, they're just everywhere for me all the time. Just incredibly special people, so selfless. And there is no way you could run a community campaign like this without those people. But again, I think, you know, it's the envy of the major parties. This is so rare what we have here. And they've created a community among themselves which is separate to me, and I think that's lovely.
Were you expecting to see such a huge victory from Labor today?
Well, I guess it's sort of started to look like that, hasn't it, with the polling? Maybe I didn't quite expect those numbers. Certainly didn't expect, well, I thought it was like an outside chance for the opposition leader to lose his seat, as probably most people did. I'm not convinced it's great for Labor to have such big numbers, but you know, that said, I've spent 3 years building relationships with them, and I look forward to working with them to continue to prosecute the views of people who don't vote for major parties, who also need to have their voices heard.
Now, I assume sleep might be first on the agenda for you, but after that, what's first on the agenda when you step foot in Parliament again?
Look, I'm really looking forward to getting back to work. Election campaigns take up a lot of time. There are big things that need to be done, so I'll continue to push the things that I've pushed for. So everything on the table, tax reform, cohesive climate and energy policy, long-term housing policy, universal childcare, banning gambling advertising. All of those things remain on the table.
We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, more analysis on an emphatic election victory for Anthony Albanese and the Labor government. We'll be right back.
How was your promotion thing?
I don't know.
Well, I'm so proud of you, Dad. I got you something in the glove box. And before you ask, they didn't have fruit and nut.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Your room is amazing. Let's celebrate. Every chuckle, every breath, every day, every night. Amazing.
It's amazing what a little snooze can do.
For unrivaled live coverage, this is Sky News, Australia's news channel.